Hey guys, Dr. Shook here. Hope you guys are doing well today. This is a late video for sure. Hope you guys are doing well, but this is really an important topic and it builds on what we've been talking about. You guys will see that everything is connected. Hope you guys are doing really great today. It is Thursday here in the U.S. It's near, it's almost, 6:30, a little after 6:30. But this is important, so I want to talk to you guys about this. Okay, so guys, we're going to talk about how blood sugar spikes and dips can contribute to all kinds of problems, but in particular, we're really going to look at fatigue and weight gain. And this is a vicious cycle, guys. This is a vicious cycle. Now, we have talked about different aspects, different drivers of this same process in some of my previous live streams. But what you guys will find out is that there are multiple ways that the body can break down and very similar problems can occur. So what you have to do is you really have to take inventory of yourself. And so if you know, for example, that you have problems with blood sugar, you have metabolic syndrome, you have prediabetes, you have type 2 diabetes, then guys, this is extremely, extremely important for you. And if you look back at some of the live stream videos that we've talked about, you know that blood sugar dysregulation promotes obesity. Obesity is the leading risk factor for cardiovascular disease and heart disease, the #1 reason that people die in the United States. So this is about improving your overall health, but this is also about trying to empower you guys to have vibrant lives where you can actually live and have energy and lose weight and do the things that you want to, so that you're not constantly struggling with with just these chronic problems and constantly just battling to feel good. I'm trying to help empower you guys so that you can be vibrant. Okay? So I'm going to keep teaching. You guys keep watching. We're going to make a difference. Okay? So guys, as always, do me a favor. Okay? Please do me a favor. If you like this video and you like what I'm talking about and you want me to continue talking about these types of topics, then please share the video. That is a way that you can vote, and then I'll be aware that you guys want to know more about this, right? If you're willing to share the video, then I know that you think it's a good video. If you're not willing to share the video, then you're like, I'm not going to share this with anyone because I don't like it, right? I wouldn't want to share it with my family and friends. So I know if you guys are sharing it that you think it's a good video. You wouldn't be embarrassed to show it to someone, okay? So that's how I know that this is what you guys want to see and that you want to see more of this. So please share it, help us help other people, help change someone else's life, because I promise you that you can go and you can look and you're not going to find this information very easily. And I'm going to be teaching you guys with video. I'm going to try to make complex topics as simple as possible. Okay? Again, I'm going to give you guys resources so that you can help yourself. You can be your own advocate, take your health back, be better partners with your healthcare providers. Okay? That's what we've got to do if we're going to combat these problems that we're having right now worldwide. Okay? So let's get started. Let's figure out how blood sugar spikes and dips can create fatigue and contribute to weight gain, and how this is a vicious cycle. All right, let's do it. So everything's numbered. There's a lot of stuff going on. I get it. Everything is numbered, starting with number 1 over here. But we could start at any point in this because it is a cycle. Okay, so we're going to start here. We're going to start with inflammation, diet, and cortisol. Okay, so let's just say this is our point of entry into this vicious cycle. This is how we, as an individual, you and I, one of us, would get stuck in this, and this would be self-perpetuating and cause us to have fatigue and weight gain and a lot of other problems with our blood sugar and predispose us to all those problems. So inflammation by itself could promote a problem with blood sugar. Diet obviously is the only thing that's really talked about in the conventional medical model that is going to drive blood sugar. Well, diet and lack of exercise is what you're going to get classically. You're going to be told if you have insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, you need to eat better and move more. You need to exercise. Well, what about inflammation? Because inflammation has a significant impact on blood sugar, decreases the sensitivity to your insulin, does a lot of different things, inflammation promotes cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone, guys. If cortisol is high, it promotes diabetes, because one of the effects of cortisol is to release stored blood sugar from your liver and muscles. We talked about that day before yesterday. Guys, really, really important here. Now, the other things to consider is that cortisol can be driven up by what? What else drives up cortisol, guys? Other than inflammation. Cortisol, it's a stress hormone. Stress, right? So what are the types of stresses? Physical, chemical, and emotional stress. Physical stress could be pain, right? Physical pain will cause you to have a sympathetic response, go into fight or flight mode, and push up your cortisol. Okay? It's a neurological response, guys. It's an involuntary neurological response that can produce cortisol. What if you're under emotional stress? What if you have a terrible job? What if you're in an abusive relationship? What if you just have, you don't have good relationships? Those are all things. If you have money worries, if you have, you're worried about people in your life that you're concerned about. That constant stress can produce cortisol because it is a stress response. Again, it is a neurological response due to your emotions. Your emotions change your chemistry, guys. It's really, your chemistry is definitely affected by how you feel. Now, what about chemical inflammation? Inflammation is a chemical form of stress that can produce cortisol. Certain medications can do it too. So these things, inflammation, diet, and cortisol, have a profound impact on blood sugar, and they can drive up blood sugar in a very significant way. Now, blood sugar and high levels of blood sugar lead to, when blood sugar goes up, what goes up alongside blood sugar? Always. Blood sugar rises, insulin rises, right? That's a normal response. Your pancreas is going to make insulin, because what's insulin's job, guys? Insulin's job is to lower blood sugar in the bloodstream, but how does it lower it? Where does the blood sugar go when the blood sugar is lowered? It's being pulled into the cells of your body so that you can make energy. You can produce energy. So it doesn't just disappear, right? Insulin actually, its job is to pull that blood sugar out of the bloodstream into the cells of the body so that it can be used for energy. So what happens if this is going on? Inflammation, poor diet maybe, and cortisol. Or maybe it's just inflammation, or maybe you just have a problem with cortisol and you're doing everything right, but that's still causing you to have blood sugar regulation problems and it's staying higher. Well, that leads to increased insulin for a longer period of time. And what happens when our insulin stays high and our blood sugar stays high? Well, then we got some bigger problems, right? Then we develop insulin resistance, which is that resistance to the insulin where you're not able to, your cells of your body are no longer sensitive to it. Because it's always there. It's flooded. It's flooded the bloodstream. And the cells of your body, they no longer are sensitive to the insulin, so you can't lower your blood sugar. And your insulin stays high. What does that lead to, guys? What does that result in? Well, it results in blood sugar that builds up in the bloodstream, right? And when it builds up in the bloodstream, what do we see and what do our doctors tell us? What do they tell us, guys? They tell us, you're pre-diabetic or you have type 2 diabetes. And guess what your doctors think? 99% of your doctors think that diabetes, type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes, that these are progressive. Meaning that once you got them, you can't get rid of them. I disagree with that. I completely disagree. Because we've seen it reverse. And you can absolutely do it. I mean, it's something that is possible. Don't let anyone tell you that type 2 diabetes and prediabetes or metabolic syndrome can't be reversed, because they absolutely can. So, so here's the thing. Blood sugar builds up this process and you get told you have prediabetes or diabetes. When that stays high, guys, when that blood sugar stays high, guess what happens? Where's that blood sugar going to go? Your body's got to do something with it. So if it can't burn it for energy, guess what it does? It causes your body starts to store it as fat. So your triglycerides go up. So that's why when you look at your lipids and you get your blood panels done and you see your lipids and your triglycerides are high, it's a concern. Because the triglycerides mean that your body's taking sugar, making it into these blood fats that are being shuttled to the fat cells. So what happens is blood sugar stays higher because your insulin can't work, because you come all the way back here and you've got some of these problems. Right? You got to track it backwards. But what happens is when this blood sugar is high, this process of making fat cells, it will sap your energy production because your body has to use energy to make and create these fat cells, to build these fat cells. So it saps your energy and you're fatigued and tired. Okay? So can you see, when blood sugar stays high, now the reason I'll get back, I'm going to finish the cycle, but I'm going to talk about why I said and dips. Because low blood sugar creates very similar problems. Guys, hypoglycemia is a state of prediabetes. Because the fluctuations up and down of blood sugar, when your blood sugar goes down and it spikes up, guess what happens? You have a rise in insulin. And we don't want insulin high, guys. We want insulin to stay steady and low, and blood sugar, we want blood sugar steady, and we want insulin to stay low. That's how we lose weight. That's how we have good energy levels, and we cannot have this roller coaster. So what happens, guys, when you have increased fat cells, when your fat increases? Well, we gain weight, for one thing, and we can't control our body weight. And it goes up, or you can't lose weight. And when this is occurring, insulin, when this insulin is higher, insulin is literally, it is inflammatory. It's not just that it's a growth hormone and promotes obesity, but it's also that it literally increases an inflammatory chemical. It's called a cytokine, your immune system makes it, called interleukin-6, which is pro-inflammatory, which promotes all kinds of issues, right? It feeds back in to this entire cycle. It feeds back into this entire cycle, which has all kinds of other effects. Now, you guys, this is really, really important that you understand this, because so where do you make the intervention here, right? How can you break this cycle? How do you break this cycle? So what you've got to do is you've got to try to understand what's the root driver of the process, guys. What is driving this process? So is it inflammation? Is it diet? Is it cortisol? Is it all three of those things? Right? Is it all three of those? And inflammation can be driven by several things. Diet can be tricky. And cortisol, everyone is stressed, right? Everyone's stressed. So how much of an impact is that having? Well, fortunately, we can figure those things. We can work on investigating and figuring all these things out if we wanted to. If we wanted to get some blood testing, I would look at your C-reactive protein and your homocysteine for inflammation. I would look at cortisol, at least a first morning cortisol blood draw, or a urinary 4-point or 5-point evaluation of cortisol in a 24-hour period. We could figure out a lot of different things and really nail down what is happening here and promoting this for you. But what if we're trying, as the goal of what I'm trying to teach you guys, though, is to try to help yourself. If you need help, definitely you need someone that has experience and understands these connections that can help you work through it. And that's a great thing, but we can't help everyone. I can't help everyone. So I've got to teach you ways and try to come up with tools to help you help yourself. So that's what I'm trying to do with a lot of these educational videos. So how I would recommend someone, if you've been evaluated by your doctor and these are some of your problems and you don't know where to go, well, then I would consider starting with diet and starting with some very specific nutritional supplements that we know can help with inflammation and cortisol. It's a perfectly reasonable place to start, right? Perfectly reasonable place. So what I did was I put together my 6. So I see this all the time, guys. I see this all the time, and so I put together a cheat sheet for you guys. This is something that I'm trying to do now that will give you guys immediate information so you can begin to help yourself, right? Just a one-page cheat sheet on how to improve blood sugar with my top 6 nutritional supplements to stabilize blood sugar, improve cortisol, decrease inflammation, and on that cheat sheet I give you ideas and tips on diet that you might want to consider to help break this cycle, okay? Now, you can go to hashimotosdoctor.com/blood sugar help. Okay? hashimotosdoctor.com/blood sugar help. It's also at the top of the live stream in the description. You can click on it and you can go there and you can just, guys, you enter your email and you download immediately the cheat sheet and it will tell you my top 6 supplements. So I'm going to give you some ideas though. So one of the things that I like is I found a multivitamin that was specifically formulated for people that have insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Specifically formulated for it. Because, so with something like that, with a multivitamin that's formulated to help improve insulin sensitivity and energy metabolism at the level of the cell, we can do a lot of things at one time, right? So you're not taking 15 different supplements to try to help improve insulin sensitivity. You can take a multivitamin that fills in nutrient deficiencies or nutrient potholes, which so many people have. Plus you get these added ingredients inside of that help to improve your sensitivity to insulin. So we have tried so many different nutritional supplements and multivitamins and things to help with insulin sensitivity. So I've got listed on that cheat sheet, I've got the multivitamin that I recommend, and what you're going to be able to do is you can go into my FullScript account, which is our online pharmacy that we utilize to write prescriptions, nutraceutical prescriptions to people, and you guys can have access to my top supplements. So there's the multivitamin that's in there. There is so that will help with some of the insulin sensitivity. But what about cortisol, right? Because we've got to address cortisol. So I list 2 adrenal gland adaptogens. Actually, there's 3. There's a very special one that's an Ayurvedic herb that I found recently that works really well. Now, one is ashwagandha root, one is phosphatidylserine, but the other one is an Ayurvedic herb that I can never remember exactly how to pronounce it. But you can, when you go in there and you get the cheat sheet, I've got them listed, the names of them. But you can go into my FullScript account and you can see the exact ones that we use. And guys, remember, like I use physician, most of the stuff I use is physician only. And the reason that I use the supplements that I utilize is because they're handpicked. The companies test the ingredients, they test the end product to make sure that what is in there is in there. Because guys, the supplement industry is not regulated. So if you, that's whenever I work with people too, and I do distance consulting or whatever, you really need to use the supplementation that I am familiar with, because otherwise we are introducing another variable that may interfere with your ability to get results. So if you don't get results, well, could it be the supplements that you're using? I mean, I don't know. All I can tell you is that the stuff that I used it consistently, and if I get results with it, then I know what I've achieved in the past with those specific supplements, if that helps to understand. So, but the top 6 supplements to help combat these things. So, adrenal gland adaptogens. I've got things to help improve insulin sensitivity at the cell. So the cells are more sensitive to your insulin, so you can combat this insulin resistance. Inflammation. I have, what all is in there for inflammation? Let's see, I'm forgetting something. There are numerous supplements. So I go through them. I think, one of the things I know that I have in there is a fish oil that's very high in EPA, okay? Because when you have high levels of inflammation, now there's like DHA, which you guys have probably heard about, and EPA, which are essential fatty acids. Now EPA at higher levels, at around 1,200 milligrams, 1,500 milligrams per day, can be very quenching and beneficial for decreasing inflammation. Now the other thing with essential fatty acids, guys, essential fatty acids are really beneficial because what they do is they also help to improve, research has shown that they improve your sensitivity to your insulin. So it can help to combat this insulin resistance. And remember, insulin resistance just means you can't pull the blood sugar out of the bloodstream and get it into the cells, right? So the insulin builds up in the bloodstream and you perpetuate this cycle where your blood sugar builds up, it predisposes you to diabetes and prediabetes, it lowers your energy production because you have to shift that sugar, instead of burning it for energy, you have to shift to actually storing it as fat cells, which contributes to weight gain. And then this will cause your insulin levels to remain high. The insulin levels remain high and it promotes inflammation, right? And then this cycle just continues. So guys, you can go to hashimotosdoctor.com/bloodsugarhelp. This URL is also in the comments, or not the comments, but the description of our live stream today. You can go there, download your cheat sheet, and get it immediately, and you can see what I would recommend. Guys, if you're having blood sugar problems, this is a really beneficial protocol. I've seen it work numerous times, and when you combine it, you got to think about this, guys. In our traditional setting, in our traditional medical environment, what the problem that we're having is that diet is being discussed. But I'm just going to tell you right now that the conventional things that I see for diabetes I disagree with. Recommending all these grains and everything else that tend to be inflammatory and create other problems. What we see is dietary approaches that tend to lean more towards whole foods, lower carbohydrate, higher fat, higher protein, are much better at breaking this cycle. And the thing is, it's diet and exercise are the only thing that's being talked about. Quite frankly, when I work with people, a lot of times they're not in any condition to exercise. Not at all. If anything, I just want them to move a little bit, just walk if they can. But some people are so inflamed and they're so overweight that they're just being crushed by their own body weight, guys. And for them, what they need to do is focus on diet, very, very, very strictly, focus on decreasing cortisol and decreasing inflammation so that they can improve all of these things and start working at it. And then as they get healthier, a month in, 2 months in, then they can start moving more and they can push their body a little bit more because now they can tolerate it. Whereas before, if they would have tried to exercise, being really obese or really inflamed and having these problems, the exercise itself would create a stress response. Because with exercise, you can overtrain. And when you overtrain, basically what it means is you produce excessive cortisol and it impairs your recovery. Excessive cortisol promotes this whole cycle, guys. So it can be very defeating too because you can feel horrible and wiped out. So you got to do it in the right way, and it's always best to start with the right type of diet. And we're just really, guys, I think that what we're seeing is there's a movement taking place that you guys are part of, and we are trying to take our health back and be better educated. And we know that there's more than just a medication as a answer to this, because really, does a medication fix any of this? Like, how many of you are put on medications and you're like, yeah, let's put you on this medication, and I'm not saying a short-term thing like an antibiotic, right? But they put you on a medication. Does anyone say, yeah, we're going to put you on this and we're going to get you off in X amount of time? Is there ever really a plan? Sometimes the doctors would love to get you off, but they don't understand how to get you off of the medications. Guys, I'm trying to help you with root cause resolution of your health problems. Understanding this and understanding these vicious cycles and understanding how the different systems of the body, the adrenal, the immune system, and the digestive tract, and how all of this, the endocrine system, these hormonal relationships, how they work together is critical if you want to be vibrant and healthy. And you don't have to be able to teach it. You just have to be able to realize and recognize that there's a disconnect, and that we have to address you as a whole person. It's not just one laboratory marker is the key. Okay? So guys, I hope this helps you out. Remember, if you want to get my cheat sheet on the 6 supplements that we utilize, go to hashimotosdoctor.com/blood sugar help, and you can get that. It's in the description above. And hopefully, guys, this helps you out. Now, what I'm going to talk about is tomorrow, probably tomorrow. Tomorrow, what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to get into, I haven't decided for sure, but I believe I'm going to cover, I want to look at this cycle, and I want to address inflammation and autoimmunity in great detail. Because, guys, autoimmunity drives inflammation and can perpetuate this entire cycle. So whenever I'm working with someone and I'm trying to help them break these cycles, there is a framework I use. I don't just necessarily jump straight to blood sugar. You guys want to know my framework? You know what my framework is? How about I tell you what my framework is, so you can understand. Do I want to erase it? Let's do it this way. So if I'm working with someone, and this is what I'm going to teach you guys in the next few days, because this is a vicious cycle that we need to break, but it's not just blood sugar. Let me tell you the framework. If I had to prioritize this, inflammation would be number 1. Okay. Now, let me write it here. So 1, if I'm going to look at blood work, and I want to help someone get systemically healthy, my priorities, I'm going to give you the top 3. Okay, I might give you 4. 1 is going to be inflammation. Okay, so I'm looking at CRP and HCY, short, homocysteine, and then, man, this one's, I have beat this pen up, and then autoimmunity. Okay, so number 1, if I'm trying to help someone get their health back, improve their health, break vicious cycles of gut dysfunction, blood sugar dysregulation, inflammation, high cortisol, whatever it might be. Step 1. Do you have a high C-reactive protein? Just actually not high, just greater than 1. The scale is usually 0 to 3. We just want greater than 1. Number 2, do you have a high homocysteine level? If you have a high homocysteine level, it's going to affect a lot of your hormone sensitivity. You've got to bring homocysteine down. It's indicated, and it's a predisposing factor to a number of neurodegenerative conditions, Alzheimer's, neurological degeneration, guys. But it affects so many other aspects of your physiology other than that. Autoimmunity is really, really important. If you're autoimmune, if you have Hashimoto's, if you have Graves', if you have an autoimmune condition, any autoimmune condition, guys, the drivers of the autoimmunity need to be investigated. If you don't have that as an option, then you absolutely have to start with the right type of diet that removes from your diet potentially inflammatory foods and helps you with lifestyle and removing environmental triggers as well. So this is number one. I don't care what you come in with, what someone comes in with. I'm looking at it through a lens of foundational body chemistry. Inflammation is number one. Now number two is, does anyone know what number two is? Some of you know, because I've talked about it. Some of you have worked with me. Right? What's number two? What's my second priority when I'm trying to help someone break a vicious cycle? You know, there's a lot of stuff here that we can talk about, but let's say there are multiple layers of complexity to your case. So we don't want to just necessarily maybe jump straight to blood sugar, right? This is like if we're building a house, this is our foundation. Inflammation is our foundation. Now we're going to put it on our floor and frame our walls, okay? So guess what number two is? RBCs, red blood cells. Now, why would red blood cells be number two? Because if you have red blood cells that are too big, too small, the wrong size, the wrong shape, right? The wrong color, then what ends up happening is you cannot carry oxygen through your blood efficiently. Now, let me just tell you that every cell in your body depends on a few things to function. Every cell in your body needs oxygen. If you can't get oxygen to it, every cell will dysfunction. And what does that result in? That results in full body systemic dysfunction. Who knows what's going to happen? What glands might not produce enough of something, or what is going to occur. But you can't be healthy if you are anemic or if you have anemic tendencies. You don't necessarily have to be full-blown clinically diagnosable anemia. You could have a significant shift in your red blood cells towards an anemic state and have impaired ability to carry oxygen. Right? I'm looking for ideal. I'm not just looking to see if you're already sick. I want to help you prevent being sick, or if you're trending towards that, let's try to do something about it. Let's figure out what's promoting that. So you've got to be able to carry oxygen, guys. Every cell in your body depends on oxygen, normal oxygen delivery. It also depends on thyroid hormone stimulation, which the inflammation can definitely interfere with the sensitivity of your body to your thyroid hormones. Okay? Red blood cells are critical. What's three, guys? What's three? Blood sugar. Number three, this is the framework. If I'm looking at, so now we're putting on our, let's say we're putting on our roof. So our foundation of our house, if we look at our body and our physiology like this, most important, inflammation will affect multiple systems at one time. If there's inflammation, you've got to identify what's driving it and bring it down. Number two, red blood cells. If your red blood cells can't carry oxygen to your body, every cell in your body will dysfunction. Okay? Number three, blood sugar. We're just going to put BS. Okay? My initials. Blood sugar. Why blood sugar? Why blood sugar? Because every cell in the body requires blood sugar to function. Right? So you have to have blood sugar, you have to have oxygen to the cell. If you don't have these things, you have a systemic dysfunction. So is it a vitamin deficiency? Guys, when you start looking at things, people oftentimes, we want our solutions to be super simple, and a lot of times they are, but you need to be specific enough with your solutions. You can't just people, I see so many people waste tons of money on supplementation and things that are completely they're just trying to grasp at straws. And it's not a scientific approach. It's just like, whatever will help me, please give me that. Please, I'm going to try everything that they can. And they end up wasting a lot of time, which you can never get back, and money. And if you look at it, if you look at a lot of these problems that you're having through this framework, inflammation, because it disrupts every physiological process just about. Red blood cells, do you have oxygen delivered to your cells? Because if you don't, every cell is going to dysfunction. Do you have stable blood sugar? If this is fluctuating up and down, then you can't get sugar to the cells, and if the cells don't get adequate sugar, then you have all kinds of problems with energy production at the level of the cell. And that causes full body systemic dysfunction. So if we can at least address these things, we can have profound impacts on so many different systems, and you can recover. If you skip these and you're just like, well, I'm just going to, how do I say this in a way, because there's a lot of things that you can try to do to help yourself, right? So I don't want it to sound hopeless, but these are the things that I always, when I'm looking at the complex problems that come in, this is the framework. After this, I do have other priorities, but these are the core ones. So number 4 is going to be digestive tract function. So can you absorb well? How is your liver function? Beyond that, I'm looking at fatty acid metabolism. Can you absorb fats? Are you deficient in vitamins D, A, K, or E? These are all, and they have so many different implications. Thyroid hormone physiology can jump around in here because, yeah, if your thyroid hormone, if you don't have adequate thyroid hormone levels, then that's a level problem, right? It's a quantity issue. But you guys know, if you've watched my other videos, how many ways can the thyroid dysfunction? How many ways? Somewhere. Right here. How many is it? Thyroid physiology can disrupt and break down 24 different ways. And what is your thyroid hormone level? One of 24 ways that it can break down a dysfunction. So, are you with your thyroid health itself, inflammation can cause a problem. Homocysteine, all these things here, autoimmunity, homocysteine, because with autoimmunity, you have an increase in inflammatory cytokines. They can disrupt sensitivity to your thyroid hormone. Homocysteine can disrupt sensitivity to your thyroid hormone. All of these things pose problems. That's why we have to look at people as whole, like complete, look at the whole person. And, whole person sometimes doesn't necessarily convey, I think, it still gives it this alternative medicine kind of non-scientific approach. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is look at everything that we possibly can, use a really good framework or roadmap so that we can identify and better understand. We don't get lost, right? It's so easy with this stuff. Like, this gives us a roadmap that you don't get lost, so that you can always, you measure these things. If there are problems, you put together a plan to address them, like this, like we're talking about with our supplementation, our diet, or we do testing, lab testing, and we address them. And then guess what? We reevaluate them. Are they still there? If they're still there, then we're not getting lost by saying, well, I did that and I worked on these things, now let me go work on my adrenal glands or something. Oh, and if you don't, you guys, if I can improve these things in every single person, 95% of people would be so much better. They would be so happy. This is often overlooked, and it is the foundational chemistry of your body, guys. It is so critical, and this really plays into this vicious cycle. And so I just want you guys to understand, and I want you to know that there are a lot of great things that you can do for yourself, right? Definitely diet and using some good focused supplementation if you know you have blood sugar dysregulation. We can address a lot of these potential mechanisms without necessarily having to seek someone's help, like people that work with me. But if you want to be specific and if you want to get results faster, oftentimes working with someone that can help you formulate and understand and put this whole puzzle together is the best way. So guys, if you want to get my cheat sheet for the 6 supplements and dietary recommendations, hashimotosdoctor.com/blood sugar help. But I have to go. That's my wife calling me for the 3rd time. It's 7 something, right? So guys, appreciate you so much. Please share this video. Let other people know. Share the message. And I hope this helps you guys out. Remember, I'm trying to help you become better educated, take your health back, become your own advocate, be better partners with your healthcare providers. Do the most that I can for you. So let us know how we can help you. Post your comments and questions here. I'm really appreciative. Share with us where you're from. If this is the first time on here especially, please share with me where you're from. I love to hear where you guys are from. We've got people all around the world that tune into these, and it's really humbling, and it's amazing to see the reach. So I hope it's helping you guys out. If there's anything that we can do for you, please let us know. We're doing the best that we can, okay? So guys, have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to come up with another topic I've been kind of thinking about a little bit, and see what else I can do to help you guys out, okay? All right, have a wonderful, wonderful night, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Hey guys, Dr. Shook, thank you for viewing our videos. I hope they help you out. If you want to, just subscribe to our channel somewhere here. You can watch a video that YouTube's actually selected for you, so hopefully it'll help you out. If you need any other information or resources, just look in the description. We've got links to our website, to our 9 lab test guidebook, and everything else that we do. I really appreciate you, and I hope you guys have a great